Is there a hidden rapture verse in the Bible? Yes, actually there is. And it's caused by a rather weak translation done in the King James Bible. Yeah, that's right. One word kind of messed up here in the King James Bible. And it's in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Yes, the falling away is a translation from the word apostasia. However, if you look at the previous translations, including the very first one in Latin, only a few hundred years after Paul, it's translated as departure, as it's translated in all the other English translations from the Latin Vulgate all the way up to the King James Version. They all translated that word as departure. And that is a huge difference in the meaning of that particular verse. It changes from a falling away from the church, more or less, to a departure of the church, which becomes a rapture verse. Huge difference. Again, look at all the Latin Vulgate and all the other English Bibles. It was translated as departure. And here you can see in the concordance of Lindale and Scott the different meanings of the word apostasia. And apostasia has the meaning departure. So it is not an erroneous translation, it is a good one. You also see that falling away is not even in the list. However, that could be explained with the rebellion against God, meaning more or less the same thing. Now we're going to look at why there has to be a pre-tribulation rapture. Why does it have to be pre-trib? A lot of people deny this as being possible. But here's why. We're going to compare God's work on earth with a Hebrew wedding. You see, a groom leaves his father's house to propose to his fiancée. Jesus left his throne and comes to earth. There's a direct parallel there. Next, the groom offers the bride to be a marriage covenant. Jesus offers us an invitation to salvation in the new covenant at the Last Supper. Next, if the bride-to-be or the future wife accepts the covenant, she eats the bread and drinks the wine to seal the covenant. Jesus did this for us at the Last Supper. He gave the apostles, our representatives, bread and wine to seal the new covenant. This is beautiful, the way it all plays out. Next comes the step where the groom pays the bride's father the price requested for the right to marry his daughter. This could be a horse, this could be some sheep, whatever. This is how it was done. Jesus paid the price to our Father for our sin, so that we can be cleansed in pure white linen to become his bride. The next step would be the groom leaving his bride-to-be and returning to his father's house, where he would start to build a bridal chamber, where he would consummate his marriage. Jesus left this earth and returned to our Father's house in heaven. And he said, "There are many mansions in my Father's house. If it was not so, I would say, I go to prepare a place for you." This is a perfect parallel to the Hebrew wedding. It's all coming together. Pay attention. The Hebrew bride-to-be then puts on a veil and remains faithful to her fiancé. The veil shows everybody else that she is spoken for and that she's agreed to the covenant with her fiancé. In Jesus, we are required to stay vigilant as well. He tells us to keep looking up, to be prepared. He says, "We are the children of light. The thief of the night shall not come and take us by surprise." Once he's given the okay by his Father, the groom will come to retrieve his bride. And just like that, Jesus says he will come like the thief in the night. See the parallel? It's perfect. Next will be the wedding party torchlight procession to the bride's home, as the groomsmen meet up with the groom with torches, because this usually happens at night, and lead the groom towards the fiancé's house. The groomsmen rush ahead and they lift up the bride in a special made chair that they can carry her back to meet the groom. Notice she is lifted up in the air to meet the groom. Do you see the parallel? How the rapture parallels the Hebrew wedding? It's absolutely beautiful. I was just in awe when I laid this all out and realized how perfect this is being played out. So here you see the type of chair that the bride is carried in the air back to meet the groom. It's beautiful. Okay, then the groom takes the bride to his father's house. Again, this is the rapture. Once we meet him in the air, we are taken back to the third heaven. Then we will be in the wedding chamber. In the Hebrew wedding, it's a 7-day, and of course, in God's world, it's a 7-year celebration. So we will be in the wedding chamber for 7 years. It just so happens to be the same amount of years as the tribulation. After the 7 years, Jesus shows us off to the world as he returns to earth for judgment with his bride dressed in fine white linens. Perfect again. Then there is the wedding party. This is the celebration of the wedding feast. And again, there will be a wedding feast on earth with the Old Testament saints. And it says in Revelation, "He saith unto me, Right blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God." So this is the invitation to the marriage supper. Now we turn our attention to Revelations 21, verses 9 and 10. Tells us, and it starts off like this. And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither. I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. Wife means the marriage is already completed. So what he is going to see is the Lamb's wife after the wedding. Verse 10. And he carried me away in spirit to a great and high mountain, and shewed me that the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. Okay. The Lamb's wife, because the wedding's over, is New Jerusalem and in New Jerusalem, and it's descending down from heaven. That's the raptured people descending down from heaven. And then the bride and groom live happily ever after in their new home. And we will live happily for 1,000 years in New Jerusalem with Jesus. And then we will move to heaven to spend an eternity with the Father. And this is why there has to be a pre-tribulation rapture. Jesus has done everything in the past and has told us what's going to happen in the future that perfectly aligns with the Hebrew wedding. We are at the stage where we're waiting for him to come and meet us in the air. That is the next step in this beautiful story. So be ready. That day is very close by.